You were taught that kindness is strength, that if you give enough, love enough, show up enough, the world will return the favor. It won't. In the brutal arithmetic of human nature, generosity without strategy is surrender, and the person who gives themselves away freely is not loved. They are consumed. What I'm about to teach you is not cruelty. It is not manipulation for its own sake. It is the science of controlled temperature, the psychology of becoming cold. There are 12 phases. By the end of this, you will never be the same. Let's begin. Phase 1. Think of your personality as a currency. When a government prints too much money, the value of that currency collapses. It becomes worthless paper. A wheelbarrow full of it won't buy you a loaf of bread. Now, look at your attention, your validation, your time. You give it away for free. You laugh at jokes that aren't funny. You reply to texts within seconds. You apologize for your own opinions. You agree with people you don't respect just to keep the peace. You have flooded the market with yourself, and when the market is flooded, your stock is zero. The psychology of coldness is, at its core, a strategy of deflation, restriction of supply. When you pull back, when you stop giving your energy so freely, the market corrects itself. Your silence gains weight. Your compliment becomes an event. Your presence stops being furniture and starts being a phenomenon. Machiavelli understood that human beings are ungrateful, fickle, and greedy by nature. If you give them everything, they will believe they deserve it. Your generosity becomes their expectation. Your kindness becomes a debt you owe them. Cold clarity. Stop flooding the market. Make yourself rare. Make yourself count. Phase 2. Most people are puppets. They have strings attached to their ego, their insecurities, their wounds. All the world has to do is pull one and they dance. Someone insults you, you get angry. String pulled. Someone ignores you, you get anxious. String pulled. Someone praises you, you get arrogant. String pulled. Epictetus taught that men are not disturbed by things, but by the view which they take of them. The Stoics knew what Machiavelli confirmed. To be reactive is to be controllable. You must become the cliff. Imagine a cliff above the ocean. The waves crash against it. They scream. They foam. They pound the rock with millions of gallons of force. Does the cliff scream back? Does it negotiate? Does it apologize? No. It stands. It endures. And the water breaks against it and retreats back to the sea. When someone tries to provoke you, do not fight them. Study them. Look at them the way a scientist looks at a specimen in a jar. Observe their anger. Observe their desperation. Say to yourself quietly, look how much energy they are spending to get a reaction from me, and look how little they are getting. Nothing, absolutely nothing is colder than being studied instead of disturbed. Practice the pause of power. Before you respond to anything, a text, an insult, a question, pause, even 2 seconds. That pause tells your nervous system, I am a chooser, not a reflex. The person who speaks after the pause is the sovereign. Piece 3. Physics has a concept called drag. Friction. The resistance that slows an object moving through air or water. The more attachments you carry, the more drag you generate. The slower you move, the more vulnerable you become. Most men are heavy. They are weighed down by the need for outcomes. I need her to text back. I need them to respect me. I need this deal to close. That neediness is a smell. It broadcasts weakness to everyone in the room. The Bhagavad Gita has a central teaching that took me years to understand. You have a right to perform your actions, but you are not entitled to the fruits. Act with total intensity. Bring everything you have. Then release the outcome completely. Think of the sniper. He calculates the wind, the distance, the breathing. He squeezes the trigger with absolute precision. Once the bullet leaves the barrel, he does not scream at it. He does not pray. He packs up his gear. The outcome is physics. It is no longer his business. The man who needs the girl will act jealous and unstable. He will lose her. The man who needs the deal will lower his price and beg. He will lose it. But the cold man walks away. And that willingness to walk away is the only true leverage you ever have. When you enter any room, tell yourself silently, I do not need anything from these people. Not their money, not their validation, not their approval. If I receive something here, fine. If I don't, fine. This is not arrogance. This is freedom. Phase 4. Carl Jung warned that a man who has not passed through the inferno of his passions has never overcome them. Society told you to bury your darkness, your aggression, your selfishness, your capacity for ruthlessness. Be civilized, they said. Be nice. Be safe. And so you buried it. And what lives underground doesn't die. It festers. Being cold is not about being empty. It is about being full of dangerous things that you have under voluntary control. A harmless man is not a good man. A harmless man is simply weak. A good man is a dangerous man who has chosen restraint, and people on a primal, subconscious level can smell the difference. The man who is polite because he's afraid of conflict is prey, but the man who is calm, quiet, and polite, yet has a glimmer in his eye that says, "I could destroy you, and I simply choose not to," that man has magnetic power. That is the velvet-covered brick. Acknowledge that you are capable of manipulation, of cruelty, of ruthlessness. Do not deny it. Integrate it. Machiavelli didn't write The Prince for saints. He wrote it for leaders who had to survive in a world of wolves. His message: you must know how to be bad, or you will be consumed by those who are. When you accept your own capacity for darkness, you stop being afraid of other people's darkness. You see a manipulator, and instead of gasping, you simply smile and think, "I see exactly what you're doing." Phase 5. Robert Greene. 48 Laws of Power. Law 4. Always say less than necessary. Every word you speak is a leak. Information, intent, insecurity. The man who over-explains is broadcasting fear. He is terrified of being misunderstood, so he drowns you in context. The cold man speaks in headlines. He gives the instruction. He states the boundary. He asks the question. Then he stops. No qualifié, no apologie, no justification. No is a complete sentence. That doesn't work for me is a final decree. I'm not interested requires no footnote. When you cut the verbal fat, your words gain mass. They land like stone. Think about the most powerful figures in history. They didn't babble. They spoke sparingly, and because of that, when they spoke, the room went silent. Here's the dark bonus. When you give people little verbal data, their brain fills in the gaps, and they will almost always fill those gaps with qualities that make you seem more intelligent, more dangerous, more profound than you actually are. Let them do the work. The man who tries to prove he's smart signals that he feels stupid. The man who knows he's smart has no interest in proving it to you. Phase 6. Machiavelli understood that familiarity breeds contempt. If people know your schedule, your routine, your every move, you become mundane. You become furniture. You stop being someone and start being a given. Most people live in other people's orbits. They are moons circling someone else's planet, waiting for the text, waiting for the invitation, waiting for permission to exist. The cold man is the sun. He has his own gravity, his own mission, his own trajectory. Sometimes your orbit intersects with others, and that is warmth, that is connection. But then you continue on your path. The key is this: you must have a life that is more interesting to you than any single relationship or any validation. If your life is empty, you will cling. You will become needy by default. You cannot fake scarcity, but you can build it by building an empire. Whether that is a business, a body, a craft, or a mind, when you are genuinely occupied with your ascent, you are naturally scarce. And organic scarcity is the most magnetic force on Earth. People want to be part of something that is moving. A train at the station begging passengers to board goes nowhere, but a train that is already moving, people sprint to catch it. Be the moving train. Phase 7. The eyes are the only part of the human brain visible outside the skull. When you look at someone, you are looking at their neural circuitry. Most people have seeking eyes. They dart. They blink rapidly under pressure. They break contact when tension rises. They look down to submit. The cold man has the glacier stare. Not a glare, not aggression. A dead, calm, unblinking focus that looks through the social mask and into the intent. When someone is speaking to you, lock your gaze on one of their eyes, usually the left, and hold it. Do not nod excessively. Do not smile to reassure them. Simply receive the data. This triggers a cortisol spike in their primitive brain, because in nature, the predator is perfectly still before the strike. The prey is jittery. By holding the gaze, you force them to break first, and whoever breaks first has subconsciously acknowledged the other as the dominant frame. The nuance: your face must be relaxed, bored, even. If you look tense, you look like you're trying. If your face is loose, calm, almost indifferent, but your eyes are locked, it signals something terrifying. I am completely comfortable in this. Pressure. Are you? Phase 8. The amateur says yes because he wants to be liked. The intermediate says no aggressively to prove he has boundaries. The master says no so softly that you thank him for it. This is the ultimate cold move. rejection wrapped in silk. When you reject someone, a plan, a deal, a request, you demonstrate high value. You demonstrate that your time is spoken for. But if you do it with irritation, you give them a reaction. You show them they got to you. The cold approach is indifferent politeness. I can't make that work. That's not for me. I'm going to pass. Notice, no excuses. No because my schedule is full or because I'm really tied up. When you offer an excuse, you hand them a handle to argue with. A flat, soft no has no surface to grip. They slide right off it. And here is the dark psychological consequence. People obsess over what they cannot have. The moment you say no, their brain begins solving the puzzle. How do I turn this into a yes? While they are spending their energy on you, you are spending yours on your mission. You are winning the resource war by default. Phase 9. If people know exactly how you will react, they can build traps for you. If they know flattery works, they will flatter you. If they know insults provoke you, they will insult you on command. Predictability is a cage. To be cold is to be a glitched algorithm. When they expect anger, be calm. When they expect excitement, be bored. When they expect a yes, pause longer than they can stand. This creates a low-level, productive anxiety in the people around you. They have to watch you closely. Pay attention. They cannot afford to coast. In a relationship, this prevents the boredom that kills passion. If you are always the same, desire dies. But if you are a little bit hard to read, a little bit dangerous, the dopamine keeps firing. Robert Greene said, "Imagination is the most powerful tool in seduction. When you go unexpectedly quiet, when you disappear for a day with no explanation, you force their imagination into overdrive. And the more they think about you, the more invested they become. The sunk cost fallacy works in your favor. I've spent so much mental energy on him, he must matter." Phase 10. There is no negotiation tactic, no power move, no seduction technique stronger than this. The ability to turn your back and walk out the door. Most people are terrified of endings. They stay in bad jobs, bad relationships, bad deals, because they are afraid of the void. They are afraid of starting over. They are afraid of being alone with nothing. The cold man is friends with the void. He knows that on this planet of 8 billion people, opportunities are not scarce. Only his belief in his own value is scarce. He operates from abundance even when broke, because he understands. His value is internal. It cannot be taken. It cannot be negotiated away. When you are willing to walk away, you hold all the cards. You can demand your highest price. You can demand the respect you deserve, because the other side can smell on a primal level that you are not bluffing. In every interaction, ask yourself quietly, am I willing to lose this? If the answer is no, you are already a hostage. If the answer is yes, you are free. And freedom is the ultimate power. People want to orbit the free man because they want to remember what it feels like to not be a slave to fear. You cannot maintain this temperature without a freezer. You cannot stay cold if you are constantly overstimulated by noise, by screens, by people, by the endless demand to perform. Machiavelli was exiled from Florence. He lost everything: his power, his money, his status. He was sent to a farm. And what did he do? He put on his finest court garments. He sat in his study, and he wrote The Prince, a document that has shaped the architecture of power for 500 years. He used the isolation. He communed with the ancients in his books. He sharpened himself in the silence. His exile became his laboratory. You need a sanctuary, a time of day, or a room where no one enters. No phone, no opinion, no noise. In that silence, you wash off the contamination of the herd. You analyze your own data without the distortion of emotion. You ask the cold questions. Who am I becoming? Is this person actually good for me? Am I on the right path? These answers never come in the noise. They only come in the cold silence. If you cannot be alone, you cannot be strong. Phase 12. When you master these phases, something strange happens. You stop projecting your own neurosis onto the world. And because you project nothing, you reflect everything back. When an angry person meets you, they see their own ugliness mirrored in your calm. It disturbs them, or it shames them. When a needy person meets you, they feel the hollow echo of their own emptiness. When a powerful person meets you, they recognize a peer. You become the Rorschach test of every room you enter. You reveal people's true nature to themselves, and that is the final, absolute position of power. To be the immovable center around which all the chaos revolves. I am not telling you to become a machine. There is a time for warmth with the people who have earned it, with those who have proven themselves through years of loyalty, but that warmth only has meaning because you are capable of the cold. If you are warm to everyone, your warmth is worthless. It is just your default setting a radiator that cannot shut off. But if you are a glacier and you choose to melt just slightly for one person, that is a gift. That is a privilege that feels like sunlight breaking through a frozen sky. Master the cold. Make your warmth mean something again. The world is loud. Be quiet. The world is hot. Be cold. The world is chaos. Be the order. I will see you in the cold.